The mind is a garden and the power of acceptance. Choosing serenity amidst life's bustle is an act of profound courage that redefines how we perceive the world around us. Buddhism, with its ancient wisdom, guides us to understand that true joy doesn't reside in external circumstances, but rather in the intimate decisions we make at every passing moment. When we direct our attention to the present, to the now, and cultivate thoughts that uplift the spirit, we open a vast space for peace to flourish within us, like a rare flower blossoming in a well-tended garden. It's not about passively waiting for immaculate days or a perfect scenario, but about finding a refuge of tranquility in the present moment, even when confronted by challenging winds. The pursuit of happiness in this context is a daily commitment to lightness of being and to the constant practice of gratitude, a virtue that expands and connects us with the flow of life. Before we embark on this journey of discovery, I invite you to join me on a transformative exploration of 10 teachings that the Buddhist tradition offers us, so that we may choose joy in our daily lives, regardless of the storms or fair weather life brings. Teaching 1. The source of fulfillment resides in the mind. The fulfillment of existence is not a reflection of what happens outside us, but of the unique way we choose to interpret each situation life presents. It's fascinating how sometimes a small adjustment in our perspective can completely transform the dynamic of a day. It simply requires realigning the focus with which we approach obstacles and small blessings. Buddhist philosophy, in its essence, compares our mind to a translucent mirror, capable of precisely reflecting everything we conceive and what permeates our feelings. If we dedicate time and energy to nurturing the field of our thoughts, we will be able to find an oasis of serenity even on the most intricate days, for authentic happiness springs from a deep place within you. Frequently, the mind insists on persuading us that joy will only be achieved when all elements of life are perfectly aligned, like pieces of a puzzle. However, it's fundamental to remember that happiness can be discovered in the most subtle and simple details, like an embrace that envelops us in warmth, a smile that appears unexpectedly, or even in the comforting quietude of a deeply silent moment. It's as if the mind itself were a garden, and each constructive thought a seed we carefully plant in its fertile soil. With the passage of time and dedicated care, these seeds will germinate and blossom, filling your existence with a vibrant palette of colors and new aromas that perfume the soul. Buddhism illuminates us, revealing that by observing our own thoughts with attention and discernment, we are able to discern which of them draw us closer to a state of tranquility and which move us away from that inner peace. There's no need to wage an incessant battle against negative ideas, but rather to learn not to feed them with attention and energy. Allowing them to pass, like clouds gently drifting across the sky, helps create a vast and luminous space for more uplifting feelings. Gradually, peace begins to emerge naturally, revealing that it has always been more accessible and closer than imagined. Every time we find ourselves immersed in complaints or in the incessant expectation of something we consider better, we are invited to turn our gaze to the vast universe of good things that already surround us. The continuous practice of gratitude possesses the intrinsic power to transform our state of mind and can diminish the perception of even the most robust difficulties. Buddhism reminds us that the present is the only dimension of time that truly exists, and it is in this instant that the unique opportunity to experience happiness in its fullness resides. When we learn to value the now, life's journey acquires a singular lightness. Instead of engaging in comparisons with the experiences of others or aspiring to a life radically different from our own, we are encouraged to turn inward, to delve into the depths of our being and perceive the myriad of accomplishments we have already achieved. Recognize your intrinsic qualities, celebrate the small victories that punctuate your path, and be incredibly kind to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Happiness is not a distant destination to be reached, but a daily construction, built through choices that, due to their simplicity, become powerful. Each positive thought we cultivate is like a silent reinforcement for our inner peace, bringing us closer to a richer and more meaningful existence. The mind, with its incredible plasticity, has the power to weave scenarios of both profound joy and bitterness. By understanding this inherent capacity, we begin to nurture with greater discernment what we allow to flourish within it. We should not feed ideas that drag us down, but rather choose, whenever possible, to value what brings us well-being and upliftment. Buddhism suggests that genuine serenity emerges when we embrace life as it presents itself, devoid of excessive demands or rigid expectations. This attitude bestows upon us a freedom that is light and welcoming to the heart. You possess the innate ability to transmute moments that seem difficult into valuable opportunities for personal growth. Every experience, even if initially painful, carries with it a teaching that reveals itself over time. By recalibrating your way of thinking, new paths unfold, and you find the courage necessary to continue your journey. Happiness strengthens and deepens when we dedicate ourselves to the practice of self-knowledge, recognizing the complexity of our emotions and extracting lessons from each of them. Days can be filled with incessant rushing, but reserving a few minutes for deep breathing and for observing our own thoughts makes a monumental difference. This habit, so wisely suggested by Buddhism, contributes to the establishment of profound calm, renewed clarity, and a new perspective on life. In this way, you don't let yourself be dominated by the problems that arise, but learn to face them with a greater dose of serenity and unwavering confidence. Remember, your mind is like a window that opens to the vast panorama of the world. What you choose to discern through this window intricately shapes how you experience each moment. Caring for your thoughts is a profound way of caring for your life and for everything that holds value for you. Buddhism, in its wisdom, teaches us that by transforming the mind, it is possible to transfigure the reality that surrounds us, giving each day a richer and more meaningful sense. Happiness is not a distant treasure to be reached and is not conditioned by the approval of others. It springs from the way you think, how you feel, and how you act in the face of every life event. When this understanding takes root in your being, you begin to live with a singular lightness, with profound gratitude, and with a joy that radiates. It is in this way that Buddhism has the power to revolutionize your days from the inside out, revealing that true happiness is simple, fully possible, and always within your reach. Teaching 2. Release the chains that bind you. Granting yourself the freedom to release what binds you is one of the greatest gifts you can offer yourself. Often, the root of our suffering doesn't lie in events that have already passed, but in the way we persistently hold on to the past within us, like a heavy burden. Buddhism teaches us that excessive attachment and resentment, when cultivated, forge invisible chains that make existence heavy and stifle our intrinsic freedom to be fully happy. When you allow yourself to learn to let go, you experience a deeply liberating relief and open a vast space for lightness to enter and occupy your heart. Holding grudges is like carrying a backpack overflowing with rocks along an exhausting journey. With each step, the weight increases, making the path increasingly arduous and painful. To forgive and allow things to take their course does not mean erasing what happened or agreeing with what transpired, but rather freeing yourself from feelings that no longer serve your evolutionary purpose. It is offering yourself the precious opportunity to live in the present without the tyranny of being a prisoner of past experiences. Buddhism, with its insight, reveals to us that everything in life is permeated by impermanence. People, situations, and emotions are in a constant flow of change. When we cling to something that is already gone, we remain trapped in an illusion, like someone trying to hold water between their fingers. Learning to let go allows new and promising opportunities to emerge, bringing freshness, vitality, and renewed hope for your journey. Each time you release something, you feel your heart become lighter and filled with a serenity that calms the soul. It is absolutely natural to feel a certain apprehension about letting go of what is already familiar, even if that familiarity is associated with suffering. In many cases, attachment arises from an innate desire for control, the incessant attempt to ensure that everything happens exactly as we plan. However, life does not follow predefined scripts, and accepting this inherent fluidity brings a peace that manifests profoundly. Buddhism teaches that true security is not found in rigid control, but rather in full trust in the natural flow of events without the need to force what is not within our power. When feelings of anger or deep sadness insist on returning, breathe deeply and look at them with a welcoming tenderness. Do not blame yourself for feeling, but also do not allow yourself to be trapped by these emotions. Let them pass, like dry leaves carried by the wind. Each time you allow the past to take its course, you strengthen your ability to experience the now with an ever-deepening serenity. Forgiving is not a gift granted to those who hurt you. but a sublime gesture of self-love. By releasing resentments that weigh within you, you create a vast and fertile space for uplifting and positive feelings to flourish. Buddhism invites us to practice self-compassion, recognizing that all of us, without exception, are capable of making mistakes, including you. Letting go of what harms you is a powerful way to guard your peace and open the doors to new and promising beginnings. Releasing the past does not mean denying the pain it may have caused, but rather embracing the valuable lesson it brought with it. Every experience, no matter how challenging it may have been, has left a lesson etched in your soul. When you internalize this understanding, a feeling of gratitude arises for the growth and evolution you have experienced. Life is a continuous cycle, and the closing of one cycle allows another to begin with more joy and significantly less weight. Attachment and resentment weave a silent prison, but the key to your liberation lies in your own hands. Choose to look to the future with hope, valuing what you are still capable of building. Buddhism teaches that true lightness arises when we accept that we do not have control over all aspects of life, and this acceptance brings a sense of freedom that is difficult to describe, but easy to feel in the core of your being. Even if the past has left its marks, it does not define who you are in the present. With each new dawn, you have the unique opportunity to start anew, choosing to live with fewer burdens and with renewed confidence. Letting go is an act that requires courage and a daily gift for your own happiness. Always remember, clinging to what is already gone prevents you from fully enjoying what is happening now. Life continues in a constant flow, and you too are able to move forward. Buddhism reveals that by letting go of what binds you, you discover a new universe within yourself, a universe full of possibilities, lightness, and a peace that propels you to start over as many times as necessary. Teaching 3. Gratitude has the power to transform. Gratitude is a silently operating force, yet it possesses the intrinsic capacity to transform even the most challenging days into valuable moments of learning and personal growth. When you choose to value what you already possess, you realize that there are truly hidden treasures in the simplest and most mundane situations of daily life. Buddhism teaches us that cultivating gratitude does not imply ignoring the problems that arise, but rather developing the ability to see beyond them, recognizing everything that brings you well-being and sustains you, even in moments of greatest challenge. On days when there seems to be no apparent reason to be grateful, try to observe what surrounds you with sharper attention. Frequently, the greatest and most significant gifts manifest in the small, unnoticed things: a sincere smile, a comforting embrace, nourishing food on our table, a moment of silence that calms the soul. Gratitude profoundly transforms our perspective and reveals that happiness can be found even in the most common routines when we learn to perceive the singular value of each detail. The continuous practice of gratitude is like lighting a light that radiates within you, dispelling negative thoughts and opening a vast space for feelings of peace and contentment. Buddhism shows us that by genuinely giving thanks, you connect deeply with the present moment, letting go of dissatisfactions that weigh you down and opening your heart to the gifts that life generously offers you. This feeling, which arises authentically, creates a sense of fullness that is difficult to verbalize but easy to feel when experienced. By valuing what you have already achieved on your journey, you realize that difficulties are not insurmountable obstacles, but rather steps that propel you towards growth. Even in the most delicate and complex situations, there is always something to be learned, and paradoxically, something to be grateful for. The habit of finding reasons to be grateful helps the mind to see a range of possibilities and solutions, making problems seem smaller and life's journey more serene. Every small victory achieved is a genuine reason to celebrate and acknowledge progress. Buddhism suggests that gratitude is one of the most potent and transformative practices we can integrate into our lives. When the heart is filled with gratitude, it expands, becoming more receptive to new blessings that are yet to come. Gradually, this feeling spreads and infects everything around you, making relationships more harmonious and strengthening bonds with those close to you. Gratitude, in its essence, builds bridges where walls of separation once stood. Even amidst the most severe storms, it is always possible to find something to express gratitude for. Perhaps it is the valuable lesson learned, the unconditional support of a loved one, or even the unwavering strength you discovered within yourself to move forward. By recognizing these small yet significant gifts, you nurture a serenity that protects your heart from the daily turbulence, making the journey lighter, safer, and more confident. Gratitude also teaches us not to take anything for granted. Every experience, every person who crosses our path, and every opportunity that presents itself is unique and deserves to be celebrated in its singularity. When you value what you have, you feel less anxious about what you have not yet achieved and begin to live with a more conscious presence and a deeper peace. Buddhism reminds us that true abundance does not reside in the incessant pursuit of more, but rather in the recognition and appreciation of what already exists in our lives. The daily practice of gratitude is like strengthening an invisible muscle. With time and persistence, this subtle habit transforms the way you react to challenges, making difficulties more bearable and happiness more accessible. Giving thanks for the small things in life prepares the heart to receive great joys, even when they arrive in unexpected ways. You can, for example, create a simple ritual, such as writing down 3 things you are grateful for each night before sleeping. This small gesture, however insignificant it may initially seem, has the power to change your state of mind and bring you closer to the serenity that Buddhism so values. A grateful mind becomes intrinsically calmer, more open to new perceptions, and better prepared to face whatever the future brings, be it good or challenging. Remember, gratitude is a path of transformation that operates silently and profoundly. It does not demand grand gestures or exuberant demonstrations, only a more attentive gaze at the world and a heart truly open to life's gifts. By valuing what you already have, you discover that life is an inexhaustible treasure of riches, just waiting to be recognized and celebrated. Thus, gratitude not only gives you clarity and serenity, but also makes a lasting and authentic joy blossom within you, capable of transforming each day into a new beginning, full of meaning and purpose. Teaching 4. Live the present moment. Fully embracing the present moment fully is one of the most invaluable lessons that Buddhism extends to us. Often, our minds wander incessantly, oscillating between recollections of the past and anxieties about the future, allowing what truly matters, the present instant, to slip through our grasp. When you learn to direct your unwavering attention to the now, you discover that even the most seemingly simple situations can become profoundly special. For the present moment is the only true dimension of time that genuinely exists. By dedicating genuine attention to whatever you are doing, life gains a vibrant hue and profound significance. Walking, conversing, or even the simple act of breathing transform into deeper experiences when you commit your body and soul to each of them. Buddhism illustrates that by living in this manner, hurriedness dissipates, anxiety weakens its grip, and the mind finds an oasis of peace. The ordinary reveals itself as sacred because you connect with the very essence of each passing moment. Frequently, we seek happiness in grand accomplishments, forgetting that true joy resides in the small, everyday experiences. Being present is a continuous, yet incredibly rewarding exercise. Each time you bring your attention back to the now, you feel a gentle calm spreading, as if time itself slows down just for you to perceive the immense value of every second. The mind, by its very nature, loves to wander, creating elaborate stories, reliving old pains, and conjuring up future scenarios. When you become aware of this movement and gently guide your focus back to the present, you begin to experience life with a newfound lightness. Buddhism suggests that true freedom arises from this state of presence, where there are no lingering regrets nor exaggerated expectations, only an open acceptance of what is. Living in the now also implies accepting the inherent impermanence of all things. Nothing lasts forever, and this truth makes each moment truly unique. Appreciating the present is an act of honoring life and everything it offers without waste. By doing so, you feel a deep sense of gratitude and respect for the simple fact of being here now, living this unique experience that will never repeat itself in the exact same way. When your mind feels overwhelmed with worries, try grounding yourself in something simple, like the rhythm of your breath or the sensation of your feet connecting with the ground. This small gesture brings you back to the present and reminds you that finding peace is possible even amidst chaos. Buddhism demonstrates that mindful presence is a transformative practice, capable of renewing your outlook on the world. Embracing the present moment also helps you cultivate more authentic relationships. By truly listening to someone, looking them in the eye and genuinely caring, you strengthen bonds and create lasting memories. The now is where life truly unfolds, where choices can be made with consciousness, and love can be experienced in its purest form. Even on ordinary days, there's a touch of magic hidden in the small details. A scent, a sound, a sensation in the body. Everything can be a source of wonder if you are genuinely present. Buddhism inspires us to discover the beauty hidden in these details, for it is there that the essence of happiness resides. When the mind is trained to dwell in the present, it becomes less reactive and more discerning. Difficulties lose some of their weight because you are not burdened by old pains nor anticipating problems that haven't yet arrived. Thus, the now becomes a safe haven, a space of clarity where better decisions can be made and life can be lived with greater fulfillment. Remember, the present is a gift. By living each moment with attention, you transform the ordinary into the sacred and discover that life is composed of unique moments, always available to be savored. Buddhism teaches that by embracing the now, you find serenity, joy, and a profound meaning in everything you do, making your journey richer and more authentic. Teaching 5. Suffering is an option, not a mandate. Suffering is undeniably a part of the human experience, but the way we choose to engage with it can alter everything. Buddhism teaches that while pain is at times an unavoidable reality, suffering primarily stems from our resistance and internal struggle against what we cannot change. When you stubbornly attempt to control the uncontrollable or refuse to accept certain situations as they are, you inadvertently prolong and intensify life's inherent pains, making challenges feel even heavier than they need to be. Accepting reality does not equate to giving up or resigning yourself to fate. Rather, it means recognizing that some things genuinely lie beyond our direct influence. This profound acceptance creates space for serenity, allowing you to cease expending energy, battling against what cannot be different. Buddhism reveals that by releasing this resistance, the heart calms and a new clarity emerges, enabling you to navigate difficulties with greater ease and wisdom. Often when we resist reality, the mind becomes inundated with negative thoughts and feelings of frustration. This unfortunate tendency transforms minor difficulties into significant suffering. By accepting the present moment as it is, even if it falls short of perfection, you release an immense burden and begin to perceive new possibilities for response. Suffering diminishes significantly when we stop feeding the flames of dissatisfaction. The practice of acceptance does not erase pain, but it fundamentally transforms your relationship with it. Buddhism suggests that by looking at suffering with gentleness and understanding, you uncover hidden strengths and learn invaluable lessons. Frequently, the very situations that appear most daunting are those that teach us the most about resilience, courage, and self-compassion. Suffering becomes optional when you realize you don't have to carry the heavy burden of constantly fighting against reality. Each time you accept a situation as it is, your heart opens to alternative ways of coping and even to a sense of relief. Buddhism teaches that this very attitude transforms suffering into wisdom, making the journey less painful and more meaningful. Instead of dwelling on, "Why did this happen to me?" try shifting your focus to, "What can be done from this point forward?" Acceptance is not resignation. It is a conscious choice of a new starting point from which to act with greater wisdom and compassion. This shift in perspective softens suffering and allows hope to blossom, even amidst life's fiercest storms. When you accept what you cannot change, you discover an inner sanctuary of peace that remains untouched by external circumstances. Buddhism illustrates that this serenity arises from a deep trust in the natural flow of life and an understanding that everything is impermanent, including pain. Gradually, suffering loses its grip, giving way to courage and lightness. This acceptance also empowers you to offer genuine support to others. By understanding that everyone faces challenges and pain, your capacity for empathy and compassion expands. Suffering, then, ceases to be a barrier and transforms into a bridge for human connection, making bonds deeper and more sincere. It is not easy to accept what hurts, but it is an essential step towards finding relief and liberation. With time, you realize that much of the pain was sustained by resistance, and by releasing that attachment, your mind and heart become significantly lighter. Buddhism teaches that accepting reality is the path to transforming suffering into wisdom and moving forward with greater serenity. Remember, suffering is not a permanent condition. You can choose to look at it with new eyes, learning to accept what cannot be changed. Thus, every experience, no matter how challenging, becomes a part of your growth and your quest for a lighter, wiser, and happier life. Teaching 6. Tend to your mind as a garden. Nurturing your mind is akin to tending a vibrant garden. Whatever you plant sooner or later will blossom and occupy your inner landscape. Buddhism teaches that the quality of your thoughts directly determines how you perceive the world and how you respond to events. If you diligently cultivate ideas of compassion, calm, and understanding, you create an incredibly fertile internal environment for peace, balance, and joy to flourish naturally. Just as a diligent gardener meticulously observes what sprouts from the soil, it is equally vital to pay close attention to the thoughts that emerge within your mind. Sometimes, without conscious awareness, we inadvertently nourish the seeds of worry, anger, or envy, which gradually transform into stubborn weeds that are difficult to uproot. Therefore, constant vigilance is necessary, requiring us to choose day after day which ideas are worthy of cultivation and which should be gently set aside so they do not dominate our inner garden. Buddhism eloquently demonstrates that the mind is a powerful force, capable of generating both profound harmony and significant disarray, depending on how it is cared for. Positive and gentle thoughts act as a potent fertilizer, strengthening feelings of compassion and understanding both towards oneself and towards others. Through this dedicated cultivation, you begin to realize that you possess the capacity to transform even difficult situations, facing challenges with greater ease and unwavering confidence. When you commit to fostering thoughts of calmness, you observe that the external world's agitation loses its power over you. It's as if the mind becomes a sanctuary, a refuge where serenity can be found even on turbulent days. Buddhism teaches that true peace is not contingent upon external circumstances, but rather upon the state of your inner garden, meticulously constructed through conscious and deliberate choices. To cultivate compassion, simply begin with small, heartfelt gestures. Be kind to yourself in the face of your own errors, forgive past mistakes, and genuinely wish well for those around you. These thoughts grow like delicate flowers, diffusing a gentle fragrance that transforms the very atmosphere of your mind. When compassion blossoms, your perception of the world becomes more empathetic, and your relationships gain harmony. Understanding is another invaluable seed. It springs from curiosity, from attentive listening, and from the sincere desire to learn from every situation. When you choose to view life without hasty judgments, you create space to comprehend the motivations of others and even to see your own feelings with greater clarity. Buddhism shows that understanding dispels ignorance and opens doors to profound wisdom. The mind, much like a garden, requires daily attention. Dedicate moments to silence, meditation, or reflection, just as a gardener dedicates time to the soil. This practice strengthens the roots of positive thoughts and prevents weeds from taking over. Over time, you will realize that it is possible to change old patterns, creating a healthier and more welcoming internal environment. It's important to remember that no garden is perfect all the time. Eventually, unwanted weeds may appear, but this does not signify failure. Buddhism teaches that what truly matters is the willingness to continue tending, gradually removing what is harmful and valuing what is beneficial. This constant process of attention and care transforms the mind into a space of growth and renewal. By choosing to nourish compassion, calm, and understanding, you build a solid foundation for facing any challenge. The garden of your mind will begin to flourish naturally, bringing beauty, balance, and serenity to every moment of your day. Life becomes lighter, problems lose their grip, and the heart opens to new experiences. Remember, you are the gardener of your own mind. With care, patience, and conscious choices, you can transform any terrain, no matter how arid it may seem, into a fertile ground for happiness. Buddhism inspires us to cultivate thoughts that bring peace, love, and clarity, demonstrating that true flourishing happens from the inside out, every single day, one thought at a time. Teaching 7. Joy is a state of being genuine. Joy is like an inner light that originates within you and does not depend on external circumstances to radiate. Buddhism teaches that this feeling is a state of being, not merely a reaction to what happens around you. Frequently, we search for reasons to feel joyful in accomplishments, possessions, or external validation, but with time, we come to realize that all of these are fleeting. When we turn our gaze inward, we uncover an inexhaustible wellspring of contentment, ready to blossom when we embrace life precisely as it is. The mind, often distracted by the demands of the world, tends to condition happiness on specific events: a new job, the recognition of others, the realization of an old dream. However, when the initial enthusiasm fades, a sense of emptiness often remains. Buddhism reveals that true joy is not comprised of isolated moments, but rather of a tranquil presence that manifests when we trust in the now, without the need for everything to be perfect. Accepting the present moment is the initial step toward living with greater lightness. When we cease fighting against what we cannot control and stop expecting things to be different, we create space to feel gratitude for everything that already exists. The simple act of breathing, of noticing nature around us, or of being with loved ones can be a source of joy if the mind is willing to embrace the moment without judgment. Joy is also a state of profound trust. Trust that every experience, whether pleasant or challenging, is an integral part of your growth. This trust brings serenity in facing changes and teaches that everything is impermanent, including sorrows. Buddhism suggests that when you release attachment to expectations, you find joy even in the most mundane situations, as the heart learns to value life's simplicity. It's important to remember that true joy does not exclude moments of sadness or disappointment. It coexists with all human emotions, yet it remains as a constant backdrop, a silent certainty that life is rich with meaning, regardless of its ups and downs. The cultivation of this joy begins with small conscious choices: giving thanks, smiling, being kind to oneself and to others. By living with mindfulness, you connect with the present and allow yourself to savor every experience, no matter how small. A delicious meal, a pleasant conversation, the singing of birds, all can awaken joy if you are fully present in the moment. Buddhism teaches that presence transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, making each day a new opportunity to experience joy. Trust in the now eliminates anxiety about what has yet to happen and regret for what has already passed. Thus, the mind quiets, the body relaxes, and the soul finds repose. This feeling of well-being is not dependent on anything external, for it arises from the understanding that all is well as long as you are conscious of the present. This is the secret of lasting joy, the kind that remains unshaken by life's changes. With time, the practice of mindfulness and acceptance transforms joy into a natural habit. You learn to smile more, to cope better with difficulties, and to radiate positive energy around you. Buddhism shows that joy is contagious. When you cultivate it within yourself, you inspire others to do the same, creating a cycle of well-being that benefits everyone. Don't pressure yourself to feel joyful all the time. Embrace your emotions with kindness, allowing them to come and go. But whenever possible, choose to look at life with hope and trust. Remember that joy is a state of being available to anyone who learns to value the present moment and trusts in the wisdom of their journey. Ultimately, true joy blossoms in the heart of those who accept themselves, trust in the now, and recognize the beauty of what is simple and real. Buddhism reminds us that this light resides within each person, waiting to be discovered, strengthened, and shared with the world every day, one moment at a time. Before we continue our deep dive into these profound insights, I have a special request for you. If these words are resonating with you, if they are sparking a flicker of understanding or a sense of calm within your day, then please consider joining our growing community. It's more than just a click. It's a shared journey towards a more serene and meaningful existence. Take a moment now to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support helps us reach more hearts that are seeking this very wisdom. And if you're feeling a connection with any of these teachings, perhaps one has touched you particularly deeply, I would be genuinely honored if you'd consider sharing this video with just one person you care about. Imagine the ripple effect of this ancient wisdom spreading, person to person, heart to heart. Your unique voice in sharing this message makes all the difference. Thank you for being here with us. Teaching 8. Don't compare, just live. Comparison is a subtle trap that many fall into without realizing it, and it has the power to drain all joy from living. Buddhism teaches that each person walks a unique path, filled with their own distinct experiences, challenges, and lessons. When you compare yourself to others, you inadvertently forget to value your own story and fail to see all that you have already achieved. True peace arises from the recognition that no two individuals are alike, and every journey possesses its own special beauty. When observing another person's life, the mind can conjure illusions, leading you to believe that others are happier, more successful, or more loved. However, we rarely truly know what another person feels deep down. Often we compare our internal world to someone else's external facade, without seeing the invisible battles that each individual faces. Buddhism shows that this comparison is inherently unfair and, moreover, futile, as it only serves to distance us from our own inherent worth. Living in constant pursuit of keeping pace with others only brings anxiety and dissatisfaction. Each person blossoms in their own time, and there is no universal clock for life's significant events. Accepting your own timeline is an act of profound self-compassion. When you recognize this, you realize that there's no need to rush or to force yourself to be someone different to gain acceptance. Simply living authentically, in accordance with who you truly are, is enough. Comparison fosters a relentless quest for approval, causing you to lose sight of your own dreams, talents, and accomplishments. Instead of expending energy trying to be like someone else, focus on discovering what makes your own heart truly vibrate. Buddhism teaches that happiness stems from authenticity, from the pleasure of being genuine and walking a path that feels meaningful to you, without being concerned by external judgments or expectations. Value your victories, even if they seem minor. Every step taken on the path of self-knowledge is a cause for celebration. The progress of others does not diminish your own. On the contrary, every person who grows and fulfills their potential can serve as an inspiration, not as a measuring stick for your own journey. Buddhism invites us to exchange comparison for inspiration and mutual learning. Whenever you notice your mind engaging in comparisons, pause for a moment and redirect your attention back to yourself. Remember the qualities you possess, the challenges you have already overcome, and the path you have traversed thus far. The mere fact of being alive is already a profound reason for gratitude and respect. Comparing yourself merely distracts and siphons off energy that could be used to create something new and authentic in your life. Inner peace flourishes when you accept your own rhythm. Each person blossoms when they are ready, just as every plant requires its own time to grow. Buddhism teaches us to respect this process and to trust that everything unfolds at the right moment. There is no rush or delay, only experiences unfolding at the appropriate time for each individual. By freeing yourself from the need to compare, you draw closer to your true essence. You feel greater liberty to experiment, to err, to restart, and to live with lightness. Accomplishments gain deeper meaning, as they are the fruit of your own effort and not a race to equal others. Life becomes more authentic and purposeful when you live for yourself, not to please or surpass someone else. No one else can occupy your unique place in the world. Your experiences, feelings, and thoughts are singular, and that is precisely what makes your life special. Buddhism reminds us that accepting who you are, with all your imperfections and qualities, is the greatest gift you can bestow upon yourself. When you embrace your own story, you discover an inner power that does not depend on anything external. Remember, there is no single most beautiful or right path, only different paths. Value yours, respect your timeline, and celebrate your achievements. Buddhism teaches that peace is born from self-knowledge and acceptance, and when you stop comparing yourself, you find space to live with joy, confidence, and freedom simply by being who you are. Teaching 9. Be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself is one of the most profound acts of love and courage you can practice in life. Buddhism teaches that self-compassion is like a silent balm that heals deep wounds and strengthens the heart in the face of challenges. Often, we are incredibly harsh with ourselves, demanding perfection, pressuring for results, and judging every mistake with severe criticism. But if we pause to observe, we will realize that we would never treat a cherished friend with such relentless scrutiny. We offer understanding, patience, and forgiveness to others, yet often withhold these very same gifts from ourselves. Self-compassion is about extending that same gentle understanding to your own being. It means acknowledging your imperfections without self-condemnation, recognizing your struggles without self-pity, and offering yourself comfort when you stumble. This practice allows you to embrace your humanity, knowing that making mistakes is a natural part of growth, not a sign of failure. It cultivates a safe inner space where you can be vulnerable and learn without fear of harsh judgment, especially from yourself. When you practice self-kindness, you build resilience. Instead of being crushed by setbacks, you learn to view them as opportunities for learning and adapting. Imagine a child learning to walk. They fall countless times, but a loving parent doesn't scold them. Instead, they encourage, offer a hand, and celebrate each small step. Treat yourself with that same gentle encouragement. Buddhism suggests that this inner kindness is not a weakness, but a profound source of strength. It enables you to navigate life's inevitable difficulties with a sense of inner peace, knowing that you are your own most steadfast ally. This internal nurturing also fosters a deeper connection with others. When you are kind to yourself, it becomes easier to extend genuine compassion and understanding outwards. You realize that everyone is navigating their own set of challenges, and this shared human experience builds empathy. The harsh self-criticism we often harbor can project outwards as judgment towards others. By softening that inner voice, you create a more compassionate and understanding world starting from within. So take a moment each day to offer yourself a kind word, a gentle touch, or a moment of quiet acceptance. Breathe in deeply and acknowledge your effort, your journey, and your unique worth. This simple yet powerful practice of self-kindness is a cornerstone of true well-being and a testament to the profound wisdom found within Buddhist teachings. Teaching 10. Embrace the impermanence of all things. The recognition and embrace of impermanence stand as a cornerstone of Buddhist wisdom, offering a profound pathway to inner peace and sustained joy. This teaching reminds us that everything in existence, from the grandest mountains to the fleeting thoughts within our minds, is in a constant state of flux, ever-changing, never permanent. Our struggles often arise from clinging to what we wish would last forever, or resisting what we wish would disappear. We crave certainty in a world designed for change. When we truly understand that everything is temporary, we develop a deeper appreciation for the present moment, as it is all we truly have. This isn't a call to detachment in the sense of not caring, but rather a call to release our tight grip on outcomes and experiences. It allows us to savor joy more fully when it arises, knowing it's precious and fleeting, and to meet sorrow with greater equanimity, understanding that it too will pass. Consider the changing seasons. Each brings its unique beauty and challenges, and none lasts forever. Spring blossoms, summer warmth, autumn leaves, winter's quiet, each gives way to the next. If we resisted winter, longing only for summer, we would miss the unique gifts each season offers. Similarly, our lives are a sequence of seasons. Embracing impermanence means flowing with these changes rather than fighting against them. It fosters resilience as we learn that no difficult period is eternal and no moment of happiness is guaranteed. This understanding frees us from the anxiety of holding on too tightly to external circumstances for our joy. It shifts our focus from control to acceptance, from fear of loss to appreciation of the now. By recognizing that all things are impermanent, we cultivate an inner spaciousness that allows life to unfold naturally, bringing profound peace and a quiet joy that stems from the very core of our being, untouched by the shifting sands of time. It's a liberating truth, because nothing lasts, every moment is infinitely precious. And as we bring this journey of insight to a close, a warm, heartfelt invitation extends to you once more. If these words have offered you a moment of clarity, a whisper of peace, or a fresh perspective on the beautiful, complex tapestry of life, then our connection here means the world. We'd be truly honored to have you as a cherished part of our community. This channel is a space where we grow together, learn together, and inspire one another to embrace a more joyful and serene path. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. It's a simple click that means so much to us and helps us continue sharing these transformative messages. Thank you, from the deepest part of our hearts, for spending this time with us. May your journey forward be filled with boundless peace, radiant joy, and an ever-deepening understanding of the profound beauty within you and around you.